Welcome to the Core Getting Started collection. In this video, you will learn how to save your core data and what file formats are used by Core. There are two format types for your core data, C90 and XML. C90 files, also called repository files, can be used to launch Core and contain project data. When you install Core, two repository files are provided for you. You can access them through the Start menu. Empty repository is a blank repository file that contains no projects. Samples repository contains a few sample projects provided by Vitex team of systems engineers. I'll select Samples repository so that we can see Core populated with data. This is the Core login screen. You can log in with the default username, which is filled in for you. The password is admin, all lowercase. This is the Core home screen. Here you can access tips, run scripts, create projects, and more. I'll click on Open Project to view the list of projects contained in this repository. You can see here that there are 4 projects contained in this file. I can open a project by selecting it and clicking Open. Once the project is open, we are ready to work. Saving the repository file is quite simple. Click File to see the options. Here, we can save the repository with the same name or with a new name. Saving your data in either of the two provided repository files is not recommended. Rather, you should create your own. I'll do this by selecting Save Repository As and give the file a new name. I've now created a new repository file with my project data. There are a few extra options if you select Save Repository, so let's take a look at those. In this dialog, notice the When Saving section. The Make Backup option is selected by default. When this option is enabled, each time you save the repository file, a backup file is created. You'll find this backup file in the same folder as your repository file, and it will have a .back extension. This file is a backup of your repository. Should you need to use it, simply change the extension to .c90 and it's ready to use. The Export Database option is not enabled by default. When enabled, each time you save the repository file, Core will prompt you with options to export your project data to XML format. XML is the second data format that you need to know. An XML file can contain your entire repository, a single project, or a subset of your data. These files can be exported and imported using the File menu commands. There are a lot of options available during an export, which will be covered in another video. For this video, we'll focus on creating a project backup. Let's take a look at exporting a file. I'll enable the option and click Yes. Here, we see the Export Options dialog. For this backup, we'll leave the top 2 options set as they are. Notice the Project section. Here, you'll see a list of all the projects in this repository file. You can select any combination of the projects. I'll export the fast food project, then click OK. Select the name and location for the file and click Save. When working with local repositories, you should export your data regularly to serve as a secondary backup. You can export XML files independently of saving your repository. To do this, click File, Export, Core Data File. Here, you'll see the same Export Options dialog we just used. Now that we've covered exporting XML files, let's take a quick look at importing them. I have an XML file on my desktop that contains my newest project. I can import this into my repository using the File menu. Click File, Import, Core Data File. I'll select my file and click Open. The first step of the import wizard simply confirms the data you are importing. Click Next. In Step 2, you can choose to import the data into an existing project or create a new one. I'll create a new project. Step 3 confirms your selections. Review this carefully before proceeding, as Core will alert you if your selections may cause concerns. Click Import. You'll be prompted when the import is complete. To access this project, I'll click Home. Here we find the Open Project option. I can open my project and begin my work. Note that this video applies primarily to data kept on your local machine. If you are accessing data on a Core server, you can launch Core using any repository file. We recommend using Empty Repository for the sake of simplicity. All of the data you enter in Core Server projects is automatically saved to the server. The server manages backup files on its own. You can still export and import XML files using the File menu. This concludes the overview of saving data in the Core Integrated Desktop. To learn more about using Core, go back to our screencast page and view the rest of the Getting Started collection.